It's your Sleepless God back with a new video. Finally, I know, because I've been missing for like 10 days, I think, around that time. I'm sorry. I visit my family on Easter break. I stay there for a little bit longer than I thought that I would. I thought I was going to be back in like just 4 days or 5 days, but things happen. But I'm back with a new video of what if Midoriya was broken. So let's start the video. So last time we left off, Midoriya's uh, basically just got out of the prison cell as he finally getting back into his normal life as he sees his mother again. His mother is hugging him and loving him and trying to get him back into a normal stance as they get back to his old house, because he hasn't seen it in like an entire 6 months, almost an entire year. And he sees it, and he sees everything that he missed, like all the pictures and all that stuff, and he almost has like a breakdown. But then his mother calmed him down as he finally gets back into his old room. As they finish off the Percy Jackson series, the first book at least. They finish off the first book of the Percy Jackson series as he finally falls asleep. As all the figures in the entire area have basically a meeting to see who's going up next. And that's basically where we left off. Let's start the video. As we see, it's around 4 o'clock in the middle of the night as Midoriya is sleeping soundly, as Midoriya hears a loud scream. As he wakes up and he slowly gets out of his bed as he opens his door. As he sees, he hears chatter coming from the kitchen as he starts sneaking, as he hears some man's voice that he seems kind of familiar with, but he doesn't know completely it. As he hears someone getting pushed down on the ground, as he takes the corner, as he sees his mother on the floor of the living room, basically, as you see an older male with a hammer, as you see his mother say, "No, no, no," as he just hits her over the head with a hammer, busting her skull open. As he looks up, as he sees Midoriya, as he smiles, this vicious smile, as he drops the hammer and says, "Son, how you been doing?" As Midoriya realizes the long hair, those dark eyes, that grimacing smile, that is his father. As he's trying to back up, trying to get some room, as the man grabs him and yanks him, holding him completely up off the ground as he drags him to the kitchen. As Doria is only 5 or 6, is 6, 7, what did I say? Did I say 12? I think I said 12. I said 12. I think so. As he lifts him up and he drags him to the kitchen, as he slams his head onto the fridge, as he feels kind of concussed, and he kind of feels like he just went through all the vision starting to get blurry, as he feels his body get slammed onto the floor, as Midoriya looks up, as he sees his dad grab a knife from one of the things, as he pulls it out and says, "Let's show some smile, my boy." As he grabs his jaw and he yanks it open, as he puts a knife to his inside of his mouth almost, as he cuts one side of it completely, and then he only a couple inches, and he ranches straight up, and then he goes back down, almost in this diamond formation kind of, and he yanks all the way down to where the ending of his jaw is, basically, as his entire jaw just basically is open completely wide, and he says, "Now let's do the other side," as he does the other side the same way, just rips open his jaw just a couple inches, strikes up to a point and like almost to this pointed shape of his jaw, and then yanks all the way back with this knife as he like pulls it out. As he like chucks it into like the kitchen sink, as he says, "Ah, you look so much better now." As Midoriya, like blood is everywhere on Midoriya's shirt, on the floor, everywhere. As his dad smirks and says, "Finally, you'll have a smile like your old man." As he grimaces this grimacing smile, as he starts walking away, as Midoriya feels sadness, anger, and disgust, as his entire body feels like it's just been just ripped apart piece by piece, as one side of his body, like just one side of his body starts getting darker and darker, as all the ghost says, "What the fuck is happening?" As Davy Jones smirks and he says, "The boy is making his own. The boy is becoming his own beast." As all of them look up and says, "What? We can only do one thing." As Davy Jones walk up and touches Midoriya's soul. As he says, only touches half of it though, and says, "Make him as strong as physically possible." As all these ghosts look at Davy and think, it's now, isn't it?" As Davy smiles and says, "Oh, of course it is. The boy is ready to destroy." As all the ghosts walk up, touch half of the boy's soul, as all of the darkness just surrounds that part and combines together. As Midori has all the knowledge of all these ghosts now and all the memories, basically, as half of his body becomes just this dark shade. Like his eye becomes completely white, and it's just one half of his body becomes this dark shade, as his one hair just becomes completely black, and the other side stays normal, as a katana comes into his hand, completely shaded black, and with this black aura around it, as Midoriya walks out of the kitchen, as his dad smashes his mother's head just one more time, as he looks up and says, as Midoriya says, "Father," he looks up and says, "What?" As his dad looks up, as he smiles, he says, "Oh, you finally did it. Become the monster that we all know you are." As he looks up, as Midoriya says, with a smirk on his face, with the scars reaching out and like seeing his teeth almost, "Well, at least I won't be a beast like you." As he slashes with the sword, as you just see this black ore chop his father in half, as like, and then chops the building in pieces, as he puts it looks like a katana into the scabbard, puts it away, and and then smiles as the scars show all of his teeth and say, as he looks down to his mother, as he grabs uh, like a blanket underneath, like on the couch, like a blanket on the couch, as he drags it over to his mother's body, as he puts it over her, and as he stands up and he says for the last time, "I love you to the ends of this earth." As he grabs his sword, stabs the sword into her body, as it bursts into black flames. As he yanks it out, puts it back into the scabbard, and walks out and busts through one of the walls, and just starts running. and just runs and runs and runs. As finally he gets to a small alleyway, as he hears police sirens just passing him as fast as possible. As now he has all the knowledge of all of the souls in his body, about 1 trillion. I'm joking. Around like 1,000 memories of like Davy Jones and all the soldiers and all his brain, and he now knows everything and everything he needs to know and everything he wants to know. He knows every book in this world, every knowledge he needs. He knows everything. The sad part about it, he doesn't want to know everything. The only thing he wanted was a peaceful life. As he smiles, as you see the scars on his face just tilt, as he says, I will never get that life. As when he's smiling, you just see his tears drop down his face, slowly. As we're going to do a time skip. Time skip of around a year, so I'm guessing, yeah, Midoriya was 12, I'm going to say. If I said anything else, he was 12. He was 12, he was 11 when he got into prison, and 12 when he finally got out, basically. His birthday was in prison. As Midoriya is now knowing his ability a lot better. So his ability is basically the scabbard itself makes this dark energy, and this dark energy can be put on the sword and can be slashed away or put onto the sword, and the sword can, break down and destroy shit. It basically just dark energy. Also, but it takes time for it to build up, and he has a maximal time he can go. He has it for 3 seconds. He can only not hold. What I'm saying is, the maximum amount of energy the scabbard can hold is 3 seconds of energy, and then it stops. But he can put the sword inside of it, put the 3 seconds of energy onto the sword, and it can make 3 more seconds of energy, and then he can slash with the 3 seconds of energy in the sword, puts it back in, and then put it back onto the sword and slash again. If you get what I'm saying, you get what I'm saying. I don't know, I'm probably explaining this terribly though. But it kind of works in this mess of the scabbard makes the energy, and the sword just can use it. As Midoriya also realizes, with figuring out his mother's death and contemplating this, that he, like understanding it, contemplating it, the darkness of the energy can grow with emotions. See, but with him understanding his mother's death and understanding what it means to be understanding death itself and understanding loss, the scabbard energy goes up by 1 second. So now he has a 4-second timer on the energy, and he can slash with basically the 4 second of time on it. That could destroy a lot more than just the 3 seconds. As Midoriya is now walking down the street, he's in completely black clothes, and he's around. He has grown up a lot for this just 1 year, and he's like 5'5" at this time. As you can see you can see stitches marks around one of the sides of his face. As the other mark on his face is now basically wide open, he can't stitch that because of the dark aura around it cannot heal that, as it just can't stitch that part and cannot heal that part of his body. The other part is slowly been stitched together piece by piece, but it's still this massive gouge out of his face. As he walks into this area of the city, as he takes like a left turn into this alleyway, he looks around as he busts through a door, basically kicking it down. It's an old abandoned apartment complex almost. As he shuts the door, as he sits down in this old couch, and he says, as he takes off the hood, as you see, instead of just one part being completely back, his entire hair, not back, black. One part of his hair completely black and the other one normal, it's all completely black now. As he sits in this old chair, as he's like, gosh, what a stressful fucking day was that. As he starts rubbing his hair, and he's like, he says, like, he looks around and he says, Inko, Inko, come here, little buddy. As you see, like, a small black cat with like green, like with some green hairs, walk up as he like hops on to Midoriya's chair. It's like an old, run-down chair that like has like a lot of holes in it. As he starts petting the cat, as he says, "You know what I have for you? I got a prize." As he grabs like a can, as he like opens a can of cat food, as he starts like mixing it up a little bit, as he places it on like the floor, as the cat starts eating it, and says, "Gosh." As he like smiles, it says, you know what I had to deal today, right? Child Protective Services had to handle me again. It seems like, gosh, those guys never give the fuck up. As you hear like the cat meow, as like Midoriya grabs some like food and starts eating it. He says, "Yeah, you wonder why can't a 13-year-old hang out on the streets without cops chasing him and asking him where his parents are?" I'm like, now pro heroes are into it too. As the cat like looks at him and like meows as he says, "I know, idiots. They know they can't catch me." As Midoriya looks up and he says, "Gosh." As he leans back in his chair a little bit, as it like goes with him, as he's like, when are they gonna realize that I don't need their help or their satisfaction or their, oh, I want to help you. All I need is some peace and fucking quiet in my life." As you see the cat hop onto his chest and start purring, as he's like, I know you're doing that to handle my stress and anxiety and help me through it. As the cat looks up at him and just meows and he says, "But I'm loving you because of it." As he lays back, as he slowly falls asleep with nightmares of Inko's death and a sword straight into his hand. As this is where we're ending off the video, as you didn't see it, as this is where we're ending it off. I hope you liked it. Bye. Actually, wait. One more thing before I leave. I am going to re-put one of the later videos that I've done. So if you want me to, if you have a video that you really like that I just canceled and you see, if you want to bring it back, put in the chat. Just say, hey, I want this back, or I want this back, and I'll be like, and whoever says the most, or if the post gets the most likes, I'll bring it back. So if someone wants like, what if Midoriya was betrayed back, and if someone comments that down, I'll put that. Or if you want some new shit, I'll do that too. See you later. Goodbye.